Welcome back to Comic Shop Talk, everybody. This is our last episode on the Late Night Chat Network, and I'm your host, Niko. And with me, as always, we got my co-host here, Chris. How you doing, man?
Hey guys, how's it going?
But I can't stress that enough. I had to open up with that, guys. This is the last episode of the Late Night Chat Network here. We are moving over to our new channel. So even if you're one of those people that click on this video and watch maybe only a minute of it and be like, this isn't for me, and then you leave. Now you know. It's our last episode. It's our last episode on the Late Night Chat Network. We're going over to our sister site, basically, the site that's our YouTube channel is going to be under the Late Night Chat Network banner still, of course. Our affiliated channel, that is the Late Night Collectors community, guys. So if you are watching this video, if you're one of the people that are watching this video for the last few days, once this gets posted, that it's going to be on the Late Night Chat Network as of February 1st, Tuesday, February 1st, we will be moved over to the new channel. So I'm going to be putting a note in the description about this again for you guys, and the link, or just go to the search bar on YouTube and search for our YouTube channel, or just type Comic Shop Talk. You might have to look through a bunch of other stuff because, I'm sure other things will pop up. So the easiest thing is just to copy and paste that link that I put there for you guys. It'll take you directly to our YouTube channel. And then you just hit that subscribe button, and then you can follow all of the episodes that are going to be continuing to come out weekly on our new YouTube channel, guys. So once again, all the playlists, everything is already uploaded over there. All of our episodes, all of the comic shows that we do, this one, Kraken Packs, the card shows that we do, anything that has to do with collecting or collectibles, any of those shows that you've been watching here on the Late Night Chat Network, there's a new home for them, Late Night Collectors community. Okay, guys? So just do us a favor, follow us over there if you do watch these shows, and we'll see you guys over there. And by the time you watch this, if you do, like I said, February 1st, if you see it before the cutoff, we're going to be over on that new channel as of that date. Everything's going to be transported over there. All right, guys. So, that's the last time I wanted to mention that. But without further ado, we got a very packed show here today. There's a lot of comics to talk about here. I know Chris is over there chomping at the bit to kind of get started already on these ones. Yeah. Very nice shirt, though. I gotta say, Chris, you're really busting out the nice ones here. I'm going to have to step up my game here for this show, apparently.
It's got the blue there, too, somewhere. Well, anyways, awesome. We'll talk about it later.
Hey, listen, Ninja Turtles, originally a comic. It counts. It was originally a comic, so it counts, man. All right, guys. So, look, I actually remembered it. Spoiler alert, everybody. Some of the comics that we're going to be talking about today, we'll try to do our best to maneuver around certain spoilers we may want you guys to experience if you haven't read these comics for the first time as we review them. But, certain things we got to kind of get into, some of the plots, some of the things that happen in the issue, to kind of have a discussion and give you guys a good review on these books. So if you haven't read certain ones, what I do is I put show notes every episode. If there's certain comics that you don't want to hear about because you're worried you might get spoiled, you can skip past them. You can read them, then come back. Whatever you guys want to do, we try to make it as easy as possible for you guys here. And, we even try to keep some of the big spoilers not being discussed here for you guys.
Yeah, we try to save the big spoilers for everybody because they're always fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if we can kind of we can make sure we don't mention something that'll spoil it for you guys while we discuss it. We'll kind of skirt past it, so don't worry, guys. All right, so but just gotta throw it out there because sometimes spoilers do occur. So spoiler alert, everybody. Okay, here we go. First book up. You got DC versus Vampires 4 this week. Man, I love this book. This is still continue. Oh, let's see this cover. Hold up now. Hold up.
It's hard to see.
Oh, yeah. Is that Batman?
That's Wonder Woman kind of, cracking through a door or something like that.
It's hard to see. Yeah, now I see the breastplate and everything. Okay, yeah, that's Wonder Woman. Okay, very cool. I like those vampire variants that you're picking up for this series. Yeah, no, it's just... Listen, I look forward to this comic every time. It's one of the first things I read when these come out weekly. I don't know about you, Chris, but it's a fun book, man. I'm
really... it wasn't the first one I read, but it's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so in this issue, as Chris alluded to, or I guess that cover basically lets you know, Wonder Woman now has become a vampire. There's definitely some confusion towards the end of this issue of who's a vampire, who's on the level, which ones are the Justice League are actually telling the truth, which ones are trying to deceive one another. It's kind of all coming together right now. So there's basically two things are confirmed so far. Green Lantern and Wonder Woman are vampires, but everybody else is really kind of up in the air. And this issue kind of had a couple of great moments throughout. mostly focused on the whole Bat family aspect and the showdown between Batman and Green Arrow, which I really enjoyed. So that's one where those two were both off investigating kind of their own corners of the DC universe and kind of came to blows in this one, suspecting that one another is a vampire. It doesn't seem that either one is, though. But yeah, I don't know. What'd you think of this one, Chris?
Yeah, I wrote down a few notes about this. Things I did like was the Bruce Wayne and with Oliver. I don't want to say Oliver North, but
Oliver Queen. Yeah,
Oliver Quinn. That's it. With their interaction, and also Constantine with Zatanna. It's Zatanna, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like having her there, that was a pretty good little dialogue they had there. But one thing I didn't like, but a lot of this sort of Three's Company business, where nobody knows, things could be solved a little bit easier. They did a little chit chat, but I guess that's comics.
Yeah, no, I certainly agree with that as well. That's what I kind of meant by the end of the issue. You're not really sure what's going on, but like
even with Batman and Green Arrow,
yeah,
they're about to freaking kill each other almost. And hey, what you're not? Oh, you're not. What? Hey, oh, sorry, man. But anyways, it's still a fun issue. I thought it was great.
Yeah, no, I thought it was interesting how like he kind of tried to get the drop on Batman and then kind of exclaimed that, hey, I wasn't afraid to fight you, if it didn't.
Yeah.
This, came down.
Yeah, it's all the back and forth between them. Oh, I thought you hit harder. I do or I don't and whatever. And then when the alarm goes off and he's like, that alarm goes off, that's bad news.
Yeah. No, but then, yeah, basically it kind of ended with that, with like all of the Justice League kind of rushing in, and at this point we don't really know like if they're all
the Justice League could be turned.
They could all be vampires attacking Green Arrow.
I know, yeah, you never know.
You don't really know. So there's definitely one of those they're trying to say that they're the ones that are being delusional, Batman and Green Arrow. So things are really up in the air right now, I would say, with the direction of it. But there was some good moments in this, like you mentioned, and I did enjoy it, and the art is always really good. And yeah, so I don't know, I give this a 4. I thought it was another good issue.
Yeah, solid 4 for sure.
All right, moving on. Death of Doctor Strange, number 5. Now, this is the last issue in this miniseries that sets up the new Doctor Strange miniseries. This has already been kind of discussed in the media. This spoiler is the fact that Clea is going to be basically the new Doctor Strange moving forward, with the same writer, Jed MacKay, that wrote this miniseries. So, what did you think of this conclusion, Chris?
Well, I'm glad it's just a 5-issue series, and they didn't have to stretch this out for like 12 issues or something. And reading this, it seems a lot of those tie-ins that they had that came along with it were pretty much useless. I enjoyed them a little bit, but as the series for a whole and the issue by itself, I thought it was a good issue. Let's see what I read about them. It was a reasonable story, the kind of how everything worked out in there. There was no like magic, it didn't say like Sim Salabim at the end and everything's good again. There's some consequences to the story, and I thought it was good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, to your point about that has been an ongoing kind of message throughout the last few launches of Doctor Strange that have been coming out over the past few years, since he's kind of been made a bigger impact in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They've actually steadily been bringing out a Doctor Strange series. I think they've relaunched it probably with this newest one about 3 times in the last 5 years, but there's always been one on the stands. And I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan, as I mentioned on here before. So and they've all been pretty good, like all the series that they've been coming out with. There's this is probably about the 3rd writer I think that's written him, or 3rd or 4th writer since I've been he's had a book again on the stands the last few years. But they've all been pretty solid. And the one thing that's been kind of a constant throughout the books is that magic comes at a cost. Whether that
and there is a cost in this. I don't know if we're going to go into what the cost is, but
no, but there was a nice little, we don't have to, but there was a nice little swerve where even though, again, because of the fact that they have to fucking publicize these comics months ahead of time, and we already heard that Clea was going to be a Doctor Strange, the way they got there was very well done, I thought, because like it kind of kept me guessing right to the end of the issue. And I was like, okay, I'm like, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. I like, and I'm looking forward to getting, like, when that new Doctor Strange series comes out, like, before reading this, I might have passed on it, but I think I'll pop the first few issues at least just to see where it goes.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, and I do want to say, I really love if the artist in this Lee Garbett, I guess he's the one that created them. I love unless they were pre-established characters, I'm just not aware of. I love the design of these characters that they've been fighting. These like weird magical creatures.
Oh, like the three mothers. Oh, that baby. We
Yeah,
gotta talk about that baby. Whatever the
this one right here. What the
yeah, like
hell? What
the
the
baby watcher or something. I don't know.
What the hell, man? Yeah, it's creepy looking. Like that panel, just like he's just looking at the side. I was just like, that's
That just reminds me of that meme there. I'm the watcher and I must watch.
yeah, yeah, man. So like very cool looking, but not even the mothers, like even the other like the other things that they were fighting, the mothers,
Yeah.
all really cool design, like really cool, really neat design to them. And yeah, I liked this. I thought it was a solid end. I thought it was a well-written series. The only thing that kind of was confused at one point is how kind of Doctor Strange, what exactly he did there, his old self with the transmutation. Like I get that's a thing, but it took a little bit to kind of understand how the fuck they got to that point, like for there.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe that might be explained further on, but like you figure now that the Doctor Strange that came back in the series, like the young Doctor Strange,
yeah,
I imagine he goes back to his old life after this is over.
He's gone. Like that, he was only had like what was
it? Whatever the time that he had. But I wonder if he goes back with the information, knowing that he went to the future. Who knows? I don't know.
I think it's why it's cool though that he was like his younger self had to impart some wisdom on these folks. Like at the end of the
day.
I mean, like
I might be dumb, but frick, I know it's what.
Right. Yeah, man. I liked it. I give this another solid 4. I thought it was nothing like it didn't fucking blow me away in the sense that I'm going to give it closer to a 5, but I thought it was really, really, really good. And as a mini series, like you said, short and sweet and to the point and successful. I
give it a 4 just because it wasn't shit. You know, like there was nothing like it, you know, there was no like at the end, oh, come on, really. Yeah. It was a good end to a good story.
Yeah, absolutely.
That could have went sideways so many times.
Yeah. No, solid. I'm looking forward to the new series, like you said. Yeah. Check it out, guys, if you missed out on that one. Action Comics 1039, Chris.
Okay, so we got Superman in War World still. You know, this one's getting there. Let's see what I got. Yeah, I did write some notes about this. I thought it was a so-so issue. You know, I think it's still going on with the story where Superman can't save the world and the people of the world got to save their own world. There's a character reveal at the end. I'll bring it out and show you. Maybe you know who it is. So this could be a spoiler. But let's see, where is he? I know Midnighter. You know this guy here?
Yeah, no, that's Apollo, actually. Midnighter is his
or Apollo. Okay, maybe was he one of the Authority?
Yes, Apollo and Midnighter were a gay couple actually in the Authority. They were actually one of like the first like characters that were out. So Apollo was like a Superman kind of basically another Superman essentially. So
that's a Yellow Sun sort of guy.
I guess. I mean,
maybe he could power up Superman then. Maybe that's what the big reveal is. So that could be interesting going further.
Yeah, so that's who showed up, eh? So was Midnighter also there though? Because I love Midnighter too. If he showed up, that's
he might have been there as part of the Authority, but I can't say. Is Midnighter like a Batman sort of character?
Yes. It's basically when they created the characters, they were doing pastiches of a gay Superman and Batman, essentially. Like that's
okay. That's who those two are. Because there was like a Batman character running around in the background trying to.
That's probably Midnighter. That's
probably the Midnighter, and he's the one that rescues Apollo. So that's making sense now. And
went with Superman off world, like
because it was Superman and the Authority that went there to try and save this world.
Awesome.
Actually, now that's starting to look a little better. Now that I get some background to it, that there's some hope in the air.
Yeah,
but I'd give that a 3.5. There's a Martian Manhunter story that comes along with it. What I got to say, you know, it's what $4.99 for this comic. Get rid of Manhunter. Make this comic $2.99. Listen to Image. Image knows.
I'm with you, Chris. Half of these fucking backup stories are trash. Like I'm honest. Not even that it's trash. It's just like by the time
It's just useless.
yeah, I'm not interested in those stories. I'm really not. Like I'm like and like some of them like are okay, but I'm there for the main title, not these fucking
Yeah.
side stories. Like, you know what I
The
mean?
only backup story I like that's going on is the one in the Joker with Punchline, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
But
that's what I mean. Once in a while, okay.
yeah, once in a while they come up with a good one, but that's one out of how
Right.
many?
Right. So I haven't encountered one myself. I can't say. All right. Next up.
And they give that a 3.5,
Okay. Cool.
maybe a 3.5 plus with this new information.
Right.
And now we got Deathstroke Inc. It's this number 5.
Yeah.
So the storyline here is still with the Trust Corporation. And I think there's a lot of big reveal of what the Trust or who the Trust Corporation is, why they're around. So that's kind of good to see. But the reason I'm following this issue or this title still is because what's coming down the pipe, from what I understand, with Deathstroke down the pipe, is there's some Batman and Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul. They're all mixing it up. So I want to kind of keep this going just to see when that starts up. And it should be starting soon because it looks like this Trust arc might be coming to an end soon, I hope.
Yeah.
But I'll give this a 3.5. It's still a great drawn comic. Good art in there. I like seeing Black Canary. She's in there. I think some Libra character that came out. And, trying to explain, that's why they have Deathstroke with Black Canary because he's so bad and she's so good. But
right.
That's kind of hokey, but
right.
I still buy it. And I'll still follow that issue. So that's another 3.5.
Okay, cool. Okay, so first up, the ones I read this week here, we got Batman Catwoman special. This is outside kind of some of the current Batman Catwoman series, 12-issue series that's been going on. Also written by Tom King. It had some of the same kind of themes and future kind of possibilities for these two characters that Tom King had kind of alluded to during his main Batman run. By that I mean there's some scenes in here that have the Batman and Catwoman growing old together after they actually are married and have a daughter who becomes like a Batman essentially. So it was interesting seeing those moments because as you can see here, like they're old people, and it's kind of weird seeing Batman as an old fucking man, right? And then there's this whole panel here where you see she's sitting there at the grave site right after he actually passes, like she outlives him. So yeah, again, he had hinted at this kind of future possibility during his run on the main Batman title. And then when he ended on that book, he went and started this maxi series called Batman and Catwoman. And it's been kind of examining Catwoman's life at different points in time. And again, her relationship with Bruce. And
so it's kind of like the life stories in Marvel.
A little bit. Yeah. But a little bit not as linear. Like it's.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Like that, like the life story ones, like you knew what era you were. And whereas this has been kind of like bouncing around kind of, but it does give you some like moments like that. Yeah.
And is this the end for the Batman Catwoman or?
No, so this is a special. I think they're at issue 9 or 10 in the Batman Catwoman. So this was a special. I think that it was actually a little late. As you can see, like there's been a whole Christmas theme about this one. I think it maybe was a month or so late. But this is a special they announced a long time ago that they were going to do outside of the 12-issue series.
Okay. So it's like a one shot.
Yeah. But with the artist, John Paul Leon. And John Paul Leon is a fantastic artist who never got to finish this because he died this past year. So a lot of friends in the industry of his and other artists that have worked with Tom King before actually pitched in and helped finish this issue. So you get about 20 pages in this oversized size issue of John Paul Leon art. And then you get another 20 pages or 18 pages of different artists. And then the one thing that kind of annoys me is that they then threw a $9.99 price tag on this because it's oversized. But then what you get at the end of the issue is a lot of like actual pinups and stuff like that. But I got to say, the nice thing about the pinups that they did put in here was they are Batman related, and a lot of them actually were like kind of like nods, like homages to John Paul Leon and his art and this kind of thing. And there was a nice couple of letters from creators that knew him and worked with him in this. And they even reprinted a couple other short stories that he had done with people like Batman and The Question in the issue. So for the $9.99 price tag, you're really only getting like half of an actual issue of story, like written by Tom King and by some good artists. The rest of it's kind of a bit of filler, but also it's nice because they made it like a little special because this artist passed away and he was a really great artist. So yeah, but I got to be honest, in terms of the story in this one, it was okay. So I gave this, because it's a mixed bag, I would give it a 3. But if you're going to give it like, if you're a huge fan of John Paul Leon's work, the artist that died, and you want to check this out and you want to see some of his last work that he did, and he meant a lot to you, then you can give, this is a much, like I would give it a much, much better rating. Not that I didn't like it as an artist, but he's not an artist's work that really connected with me on that level. But if you are a huge fan of him, definitely pick this up if you weren't aware of this, guys. If you are a huge fan of this artist, check this book out. It's very cool for that reason. So
I might pick that one up. I like that, like the kind of the Batman Catwoman life story business.
Yeah, there were some good moments in this. Like there was. It's just I only give it a 3 because it was kind of a mixed bag. Like you got some pin-ups and you got some letters, then you got a couple of short stories that really had nothing to do with this story. But the main story itself and the art, I dug. Like I would give it much higher if it was just that, but I got to kind of rate it on its own. The whole thing.
Sure.
Right? And then next up, you got Human Target number 4. So, Chris, after the last issue being your favorite one, you didn't end up picking this up. I'm surprised. What happened, man? I thought
it came out on a bad week, man. If this was like a 4-issue week, I would have picked it up. But I had freaking like 20 comics.
I love this fucking issue, man. This issue was great, continuing the greatness of this series. This is one of the best things I read this week. I'll tell you guys right now, it's definitely in the runner. It's definitely in the running for favorite book of the week this week. And look at this cover. It's got all like the fucking bang, poof, like the old like Batman, like kind of like, you know, pow, like fucking, you know, and word balloons. Look, Chris, word balloons. And guess what? This actually has to do with the issue. It's like an old school issue with Blue Beetle.
I'm going to read that one online. If it's not good, I'll buy it.
Honestly, I really enjoyed this. So I got to say, this continues the story of the Human Target investigating the members of the Justice League that he feel could have to do with the death of, the assassination attempt of Lex Luthor that he stepped in for. And remember, every issue is basically a day that this guy has one less day on this earth, because this is the 4th issue. This is the 4th day out of 12 days out of this 12 issue series that this guy's been poisoned and he's about to die. So he's racing to the finish, trying to figure out who exactly killed him, just to refresh you guys' memories on the plot. But anyways, yeah, but this issue, he spent all day with Ice, who's been basically following him around, and they got a little kind of like love connection kind of thing going on. She's kind of been teasing him this whole time. And, you know, who knows if she's on the level or just trying to like, you know, get with him because she may be guilty or know something about this whole thing. And
he's got 12 days to live. Come on.
Right. So then he meets up with, they meet up with Blue Beetle, obviously an old Justice League member and a friend of hers. And Blue Beetle, as he goes to interrogate him and get some answers from him about like maybe like suspicions that he was involved in this, he gets calls during the day about other things that he has to go and like address, like people in trouble, right? So they get bounced around the whole issue, and him and Ice continuously get into these situations where they got to take down bad guys, and Human Target's just kind of observing and kind of going along with them as Blue Beetle's talking with him. He's like, listen, we can talk, but you got to kind of come with me because I got to do all this shit today. I got to help people, and Ice, you can come along for the ride. So by the end of the day, they're all settled in at his hotel because Blue Beetle's like rich, like a Batman of sorts, right? And it's his hotel that they're staying in, and he gets them at the bar. And he liquors them up, right? He's like, this is the end of the day. You're not going nowhere. We're going to go for a drink. Ice is like, okay, well, I'm going to go up to my room. You boys have a good night. Gets him liquored up. He reveals a bunch of shit. There might be a connection with Martian Manhunter now. So it looks like the next issue, that's who he's going to be seeking out. And Blue Beetle and Booster are really good pals. So he kind of starts talking about Booster. So there's a whole kind of thing going on now. At the end of this issue, though, it goes up to the hotel room. Who's in his room? Feels the handle. Yeah, the handle feels cold. Ice is sitting there with a drink waiting in the hotel room. So it looks like, looks like It looks like Ice and him are finally.
Wom chicka wom wom.
Thank you, Chris. That's what I was trying to go for. Looks like they finally were hooking up by the end of this, man. Ah, man, I love this. I gave this a 5. I love this issue, man. It's fun. The detective aspect of it is really cool. Seeing a different Justice League member that you don't normally see all too often. Every issue is awesome, and the art is fantastic. And the way that they depict Ice is that she's sexy but not slutty, and like, you know what I mean? Like it's interesting, like the dynamic between these two kind of characters, right? She's not like boobs aren't busting out of her t-shirt, but she's like, you know what I mean? Like she's very like good looking, and the artist does a good job of doing it, and you could tell. And this whole kind of will they won't they kind of relationship they've had kind of up to this point is been very intriguing so far. But yeah, so I give it a 5, man. I love this book. It was a great issue. So there you have it.
Put another one on the list. Fucking piece of shit.
Sorry, man. It's very good. It was just as good as the last issue. Not better. All right, Chris, why don't you start us off by talking about Peacemaker, a book that I was very much looking forward to, that I also got Chris to pick up this week. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I'm interested in Peacemaker. You know, I've been watching. I didn't know much about Peacemaker before Suicide Squad. You know, I guess John Cena sold this book to me for the Peacemaker show, so you get a little bit of history of Peacemaker's upbringing, and holy moly, it's bad.
Bro,
I don't know if this is known information beforehand or no.
I don't know too much about him, to be honest with you, Chris. This is clearly not the version that we're seeing in the show. This is
well, this could be his childhood in the show. They just don't dip into it.
But I mean, like when they get into his father and stuff in the show, this is clearly not the same.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
right.
That's true.
But unless, you know, there's something else we don't know about him. But this was a dark fucking book, guys. This is a dark ass book. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't like things that are like dark and stuff like that. That's interesting a lot of the time, these type of stories. But yeah, fair warning, this is the DC Black Label, and they really use it to their advantage on this one. This was fucked up, man. This story.
Yeah, he's no joker in this one. He does some fucking bad shit. Not bad shit, good bad shit, I guess. Or bad good shit. I don't know how you want to say it, but yeah, I thought it was great. I loved it. I love Peacemaker. Well, I don't love Peacemaker, but I like seeing his journey here, and I might start following him a little bit more closely.
Yeah, I hope they continue, and then he pops up in something else. I mean, I wish Garth Ennis wrote this, guys, and I'm a huge Garth Ennis fan, so I was very much looking forward to this just based off of that. And the man always writes a good war story or like a war comic, and you know, there was a little bit of this in this issue as well. He's kind of like a Punisher of sorts.
Yeah, I was just thinking the exact same thing right there.
Yeah, and Garth Ennis did a great Punisher in the past, but he's not in a way as well, if that makes any sense. There's some similarities, but there's some things, like the thing about, they really explain his psyche of the whole Peacemaker aspect of what he does in this. Like
there's definitely something broken in there, but
yeah. The one thing I didn't like about this, I'll tell you right now, is that the art was kind of like not my favorite art style. Like it worked for the story. Like it was very messy and kind of like and dark looking and kind of like scratchy and Gary Brown, the artist, I don't mind his stuff. I mean, I think it just looks rushed on purpose, because it's not that it's rushed, but I think that's just his art style. It worked for the story, but it was the only negative I would probably have to say about this. Otherwise, I thought this was amazing too. I really enjoyed this a lot as a one shot. It was really well done.
Yeah, I didn't mind the art. It didn't, like, I didn't ever looked at it and said, "Oh, this is garbage art," but a good story. I thought whatever, the art theme was fine with the tone of the story, and I thought it was a great story. I'm dropping a lot of 4s, but it's another 4 for me again.
I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 for this one. Yeah, it honestly, again, this was another book that was in the running for me this week, along with Human Target, which I just talked about. But based off of like my comment on the art, not that I hated it or thought it was bad. I would have preferred maybe a different art style in this one, but I think it worked for the book. Yeah, it's not a huge negative, but yeah, I got to give it a little bit of a you know, not 5. I'll give it 4.5, but really fucking good, guys. Really good.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Devil's Reign number 3. This was great too. This is a
Oh
good.
yeah.
I like this. Oh yeah, I like this, man. I think it's building. It's building. I really like where we're at with it. Again, I will say my one negative about this book is that for an event that's a Daredevil event, he's barely in this thing so far. I gotta say,
Yeah.
like, it really has to do more with the city and I think the street level characters and everybody around him and how they're reacting to this stuff that's been going down in the book. But I think the art, I mean, the artist Marco Cicchetto is doing fantastic work. They've already announced that he's going to be once again one of the ongoing artists with the relaunch of this book with a new #1 at the end of Devil's Reign. I don't know if you saw that news, Chris, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like even like this one panel where he draws Doc Ock. Oh man, like that was a really there was some specific scenes throughout this issue where I'm just like he knocked that out of the park. That was great. That was a great page, and he does action very well. I don't know. I'm liking where the direction where it's going. How about you?
Well, I didn't think it was a super issue, but I like the way that the story was moving along, and it's still moving in good directions, good pace. I think it just might be a victim of so many comic books. Like I read some other ones that were just some other great books from maybe before that. I do like the Doc Ock and the Superior Four, like seeing those people, seeing those guys show up, and then both coming together at the end to was it the Avengers there where they were both trying to take down Wilson Fisk?
Yeah.
And then Doc Ock shows up and they're both basically for the same reason.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. And the stuff with Luke Cage trying to become mayor, I'm not too big on that.
I mean, obviously that's something I think that's going to continue outside of this event. Like it's probably going to be a storyline that we might be following moving forward. I don't know whether it's going to be in Daredevil, if they're looking to amp up another series for Luke Cage. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of interesting, but it's not my favorite thing in this. I really enjoyed the Human Torch and Thing breaking.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was good.
And
that was a good thing too. Ben Reilly in the beginning just getting beaten to a pulp, or he's beaten to a pulp, and he still won't break.
I want to say that the reason I kind of let off with this was also really, really good, though, especially is the fact that, again, I don't feel that the tie-ins have done much for this book in particular.
Yeah.
Similarly to like what you were saying about the one-shots or whatever they were with the Death of Doctor Strange. But again, I think that if you were reading Daredevil prior to this event, leading into this, or just reading this event on its own, I think this has been a very solid self-contained series. And if again, and we're talking about me who's not a fan of events, like I really am not. When they're wide line events, I wouldn't say this is a wide line event, but when they're wide line events, usually they're not very great. But this is a solid story I think they're telling here. Honestly, like I'm not going to be dropping Daredevil anytime soon, especially with him continuing out of this event and relaunching it at #1. I'm still going along for the ride personally. I think it's solid.
Yep, I'm liking it so far, and I'll continue reading it. I think I'm still getting sucked in by these stupid tie-ins, but that might be coming up soon. It looks like we'll talk about a tie-in later on.
I gave this a 4.
Yeah, I give it a 3.5.
Okay. All right. Next up, Avengers Forever #2.
Avengers Forever here, #2. This issue is basically the whole issue is the Black Skull, which is the Red Skull with a Venom symbiote, trying to torture a Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes. I don't know what universe this is from, and he's really trying to get into him. He's trying to get into his head. Robbie Reyes won't break. He won't scream. There's a death lock in there. Like basically, it's just day after day, the Venom's going into him, or the Black Skull is going into Robbie Reyes, just to try and figure out why they're in, because they're in a different multiverse, or they're in a different universe here.
Yeah.
And there's one where Ant-Man is Tony Stark is Ant-Man. There's no Avengers, and it's always kind of cool seeing how everything gets twisted around. But just seeing what's that, Black Skull and freaking what's that, the Ghost Rider trying not to break. It was a pretty decent issue. And I guess in the end he does break, but the way he breaks him is pretty brutal, so that's fun to read.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the end, you can see sort of the Avengers of this universe sort of coming together a little bit. And I was trying to be quick about it. Like, I hate giving up, but it's just another 4. Sorry, I have to say it. I like, I liked a lot of the comics I read this week. We had some bum weeks a few weeks ago,
We
and
have.
these ones were all decent.
And it happens. And also, as a man who's very strict on his rating, Chris, I don't think you gotta apologize for anybody. You've yet to give a fucking 5 on this channel. Don't forget. Honestly, but
Well, I don't want to give it a 3 or a 3.5 because it was a good comic, and and I'm
that's a
like,
good thing.
before I read it, go fuck. Like after I picked up my watch and go, oh man, this might be after one I have to drop or read online or something. But after reading that issue, I got to read this one some more.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's good to have a lot of good comics, man. It's not a bad thing, right? But I trying to drop things, it is. I get that.
It's hard, like, because this was another one here I wanted to, well, not wanted to drop, but this is Justice League Incarnate here. This one's a little wacky with the multiverse. They're jumping from Earth to Earth to Earth, and they go through a whole bunch of crazy different Earths in this one. Like there's some, I guess maybe they go to Captain Carrot's world or universe. So everybody's sort of cartoony in there. And at one point they come into our Earth here, like this Earth or this universe that we're in. And was it Dr. Multiverse and President Superman are here. So they have no powers.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, and they do have a shout out to Superman 3 in this. The
movie?
The movie. Oh. Because Brainiac is it like when they come into the Earth, like our Earth or our universe here, they have no money, but there's a Brainiac with them or something like that. And they have no money and they figure out how to make money. He goes, oh, well, it's from a movie that was produced here. We just rounded up some heirs to get money.
Yeah, that's so stupid. I know. Isn't that the one with what's his name, the comedian?
Richard Pryor's in it.
Pryor, thank you. Yeah,
that's where Superman busts in half, and there's a good he starts doing all these douchey things. He blows out the.
I remember.
The flame. And anyways, so they're here in our universe, and the way they communicate with the other universes, they have to write a comic.
Right. Oh, okay.
So it's a bit of a crossover. Like there's some. They befriend a DC editor that believes their story, and so they spend a month trying to write this comic, so they can communicate with the other heroes in the other universes, and then I don't know. Then hilarity ensues, I guess. Like Darkseid's in this. I thought it was kind of hokey until it all came together at the end.
That sounds fun, man. Actually,
it was fun. Like
really wacky. That's really wacky.
It was wacky. I thought this was crazy wacky. When I opened it up, arts. It's like a bunch of different artists in this. Yeah. It's like page 3 to 5, this artist. But that's because every time they go to a different universe, they'd have a different artist doing it.
Yeah.
So that was pretty decent. And it kind of came together at the end. And I'm ready for issue 4. And there's no tie-ins with this, too. So that's one thing good DC's doing with their some of their mini-series.
Wait, issue 4? Isn't this 5? You mean
this
6?
is issue 3.
Oh, shit. I wrote it down wrong. I'm sorry, guys.
Don't worry.
Right.
Issue 3, we got 4 and 5 coming soon, and I'll be getting them both. Okay,
sounds good. So what'd you give this?
I'll give this a 4 again.
Nice. All right, man. Good to hear. That's good. Next up, we got X Deaths of Wolverine #1. I know you had picked this up. I think you just didn't get to it in time, right?
Yeah, I picked it up. I didn't read. I just got my Lives of X or whatever, 10 Lives of Wolverine this week too. I didn't want to read this one until I read this one.
Yeah.
But I haven't read this one yet, so I got a bunch.
I'll keep it short and sweet then for you. Basically, you know how the last one I said he did like the Days of Future Past, and he's going back to the past to kind of save Xavier. So that's, I guess,
it's kind of like a Quantum Leap Wolverine or something.
So the Wolverine's in that. So think of Wolverine. He's a person that has lived many lives, right? In this, the main person you're focused on, at least in this issue, despite the title, is Moira McTaggart. So what's interesting about this is, where we left off in the Inferno, you get to follow her after her
okay, nice.
After the end of Inferno, where she went from that point in time to now in the storyline. And thinking of her, she's somebody who has had many deaths. Right? So I think that's the idea behind this kind of thing. I don't know Wolverine's part that he plays in this. There's definitely something going on. If you look at that cover you just kind of flashed there is some sort of like Cypher looking Wolverine running around.
Oh, maybe.
But
like a little warlock in there or something.
Yeah, right. But it's not really explained as of yet. So there you go. So that's basically what this issue is. It's basically focusing on Moira McTaggart and her place in things and kind of where she left off post Inferno. So if you guys were interested in that, this is actually a look into that.
Yeah, so it continues on within the continuity, let's say.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Yeah, it is good to hear, and I didn't expect it. I give it a 3.5. The only reason I didn't give it a 4, like I did the 10 lives, is the artist. I didn't like the artist as much as I liked the artist on the other book, but it was still okay. Like it wasn't bad. I would just, that's why I give it a 3.5 as opposed to a 4 on this one. Otherwise, it's a good companion, actually, both the issues. I'm happy to say that. It's actually pretty good so far. Next up, I got Justice League 71. This was the conclusion of the storyline where the Royal Flush Gang had stolen the Fortress of Solitude somehow from Superman, and they basically came to the conclusion that this was just a diversion, against the Justice League, something that would tie them up temporarily, where they kind of shifted their focus away from the main task at hand, which has been this plot with Leviathan, which Bendis has been writing all the way from his Superman run, which is connected to his Action Comics run, as well as his Justice League run. There's been this shadowy organization called Leviathan, and then you got the organization Checkmate that's involved, that's against Leviathan, and Bendis also wrote 2 Checkmate miniseries during this time. So his first few years on DC, it's just been a through line of all his books, like a storyline kind of connecting everything he's done so far, including Justice League, Legion of Superheroes, because he's writing Justice League, and he's also been writing Legion of Superheroes prior to that. So everything has been kind of one interconnected storyline of some sort of just this shadowy organization that's been messing with a bunch of the people in the DC universe. So I don't know how great it will be for some people, maybe not realizing that coming into the book, having not read a lot of the stuff that he did prior to this. For me, who has read majority of it, even for me, it's been it's not bad. It's okay. Anyways, this storyline has ended. It looks like everything's been tidied up, because in a couple of issues, Bendis is going to be done with this book. And then there's the big issue 75, where another writer's coming in, and they're apparently going to kill off the League. So it looks like they're telling Bendis to kind of wrap everything up and kind of, you've had your time on this book. But they did hint at a next storyline, the next issue. I know you said you might have been checking this out. Did you get around to checking?
Yeah, I might start picking up from the next issue onwards, kind of.
I think that
follow this Death of Justice League. See what that's all about.
I think that's a good idea. And then speaking of backup stories that I don't really care about all that much, this had one of them. But the backup story in these books has been the Justice League Dark, which is all the magical characters like the Constantines and Dr. Fates and all those kind of people, which I actually really, really enjoy those characters. So as boring as this current story that they've been telling has been for me, I still I push through it because I have a love for the characters, and it's not bad, but again, it's not great. So I would give this a 3.5, this particular issue. So I'm looking forward to seeing this wrap up, Bendis wrap up his time on this title, and where he ends up going in the future at DC. No one knows really at this point. I guess we'll find out soon. And the ultimately the death of the Justice League. We'll see how long that sticks for, right? So
not long, I imagine.
Oh. All right, Chris, why don't you start us off talking about Thor 21 then?
We got Thor 20 or Thor 21. Yeah, let's see what I read about Thor. My biggest impression of this book was that Odin got cracked by by Mjolnir. Mm-hmm. I thought that was great, but just still, I think it's a great issue. I'm not big of a fan of this lightning force that Mjolnir turned into. But just seeing Thor get his ass freaking thoroughly whooped the whole issue. Odin comes in to try and save him. Freaking he gets whooped. And they try and banish this hammer, to the farthest places of the universe that, you can't even calculate. And they think they're safe, and freaking before they breathe twice, boom, Odin gets cracked in the back with Mjolnir. I thought that was great. And I guess there's some reveal at the end of a big character. I don't know if that's a big reveal or not. You can judge that. But I thought it's a great issue.
I love this issue. I thought this issue was great. you know, we hyped up the shit out of the last issue. Like we were really, really loving the last issue. But then when we got to the end of the issue, which we didn't reveal at the time, when they talked about Mjolnir being like this actual like essence, like this energy that actually lived in the hammer, and like why it's an actual living, breathing thing at the end of the issue, or you're kind of like, what the hell? Like, right? We're just like, really? That's the god of hammers, or this thing? Or so, as much as we were pumped up for that last issue and as good as it was, but when we got to the end, me and Chris were both kind of scratching our heads. So then I gotta say, the explanation that they gave in this issue of kind of what that was and how it came to be, and even the surprise at the end, which I won't get into, actually made it much better for me again. Like I was like, okay, yes, this is still great. Like I'm loving this, and the art is amazing. And that one scene that I was just showing off where he fucking punches the hammer and his hail.
Oh, that's another great scene too. Awesome.
Oh man, talk about an awesome fucking scene, man. When he punches the hammer in his, it's crazy, man. It just shatters his arm. I was like, wow, this is getting bloody, man. Like this is.
Like, I know there's some eco theme here, you know, because basically there's a lot of the storyline is you can't keep on throwing shit in the sun and expect it to just die. It's going to fucking spit shit back. And it does. It freaking spits back hell.
Very true. Yeah, so what'd you give this one, man?
I give it a 4.5.
Same. Yeah. This was another one that was in the running for me this week. This was
the first comic I read, like, you know, out of my stack of 50 or whatever I had, my stack of 20.
Yeah.
This was one of the first ones I wanted to read.
Yeah.
You know, they could have put a bit more thought into this Mjolnir lightning force or something, whatever it is. But other than that, that's my only
gripe. Yeah.
My only gripe about it. But otherwise, great stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it was still really good. Yeah. It's in such a large week of comics, I gotta say, as you can tell, guys, we both had a really good week of comics, which is really
good. We had some big weeks there or some light weeks, but this one's been, and it keeps on moving on.
Yeah. Okay, X-Men number 7. So this is again the continuing reveal of the story and origin of Captain Crapto. Sorry, that's just the name that we made and we've continued on this show. But Captain Krakoa, which is basically Scott Summers. I gotta tell you guys, Cyclops, I'm not a huge fan of Cyclops, and they've really fucked him over a lot over the years at Marvel. They really have. They've made him into a bad guy. They've made him into a whiner. They've made him into a shitty leader at times. But this issue, he had some great fucking moments in this issue, guys. Yep. This issue, I was like, I'm not even that big of a Cyclops fan, and like I said, they've done him wrong. They've done him wrong as a character a lot over the years. But in this issue, they kind of explain finally how he got to the point where he had to make himself, like, because publicly he had died apparently, but make himself into this Captain Krakoa to the public. And you know what? Between like that crazy move where he busted out all his like eye beams all over.
Yeah, like I don't know. Does he have like control of lights? Or is that just all freaking rebounds? Because he seems to shoot into the light.
Yeah.
And then out of the light, more light comes out. Like I don't know if they powered him up, if there's some sort of power I don't know about, but it takes care of business, that's for sure.
Just awesome though. Yeah, he came on the scene ready to save people, like and lead the team. And as a true leader, like he really was. He brought them in there and they threw down and they
yeah, no, it was a shorthanded team, you know.
Yeah, and he saved a bunch of humans in the process, and then he dies saving a baby, guys. Like he saved a baby, and then he gets like his throat slit or whatever, right? So I'm just like, you know what? Like that was a way to go out, and I really actually feel bad now. He has to be this fucking shell of himself, this Captain who has no rep or history or anything, and he has to start from scratch. And this guy actually was a true good leader and person, and actually held it down for the team and humans all at the same time. Like I was impressed. I was impressed by his moment of heroics in this issue. And I'm not a huge Cyclops fan. How about you? What did you think about this?
Yeah, I thought it was a great issue. The only one of the downs for this is just like I'm not sure how everything fits in this timeline. Like, because the issue 6 happens after issue 7, but anyways, but just for the action of the issue itself, I thought it was great. There's some great scenes with Wolverine or X-23, whatever you want to call her. They got some great panels with her, you know, doing some battles. I haven't seen much of her around her, so it's good to see that. And you know, just let's see, yeah, just the Captain Krakoa revealed. You know, you see him kind of waking up, and you know, Jean and all that sort of stuff in the gardens. And basically they're telling him, hey man, you're dead. You got to come back as, with that suit on or whatever.
The one other note I had to mention is what you just hit on is basically, the way that the story has been told so far, though I start off every issue, this one included, a little confused, to be honest. I'm like, where did these events happen? What's going on? Because they kind of gave you the cold open of another villain right now.
I got the High Evolutionary comes, like they had him there in a few issues back. I think like X-Men 3 or 4 or something. And I thought they were done with them.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So, and I mean, I really like the High Evolutionary. So that was really cool. I do also like the moment where Cyclops gets killed and Buddy, knowing his resurrection, I guess protocol, a little bit about it, whispers where to find him once he comes alive again. But of course,
that was great there.
I was like,
I'll see how this works. You see if you remember when you come back.
Right. I was like,
and they keep it quiet so we don't hear what they said.
Such a dick move. I was like, but it looks like there's some traitors possibly inside their own organization. It looks like, he's not so sure about Emma at this point. And also we finally get the reveal of, we basically finally figure out what we were wondering about the last issue, Chris, is that, what's his name, has no recollection anymore, Ben Urich.
Yeah, he got, somebody wiped him.
Yeah. So, the plot thickens, guys. I liked it. I give it a 4 as well.
Yep, I'll give it a 4 too.
Yeah,
solid 4.
Nice. All right, Chris. Devil's Reign, Winter Soldier #1.
Yeah, well, we talked about these tie-ins. It wasn't a bad tie-in. Like, I haven't read much Winter Soldier by himself, so it's kind of good seeing him here. And most of the issue, I don't know if he's half asleep or half awake. Did you read this one or no?
I didn't read that one. No,
yeah. So basically, in here, he battles a sleepwalking kingpin or something. Like Kingpin goes into one of his houses, and I don't know, he tells all the guards to leave, or the guards with children or families leave, and there's just a bunch of other guards there. And you know how Kingpin has all his files about everybody. So the Winter Soldier here, he wants to figure out his past, so he knows Kingpin's got a file about him, so he wants that file. So he breaks into Kingpin's house to get the file. And then, I don't know, then a freaking sleepwalking Kingpin he's all obsessed about why he can't remember who Daredevil is. Of course, that's the tie-in. And he just stomps around the house half asleep, and he beats the freaking holy hell out of what's that? The Winter Soldier.
Okay.
And I think in the end of it, the Winter Soldier gets his file and he reads sort of what he's done. And now he wants to find out where Kingpin got this information from. And I believe this is a launching point for Captain America 0. So it's a pre-start.
Okay, that's kind of cool. Is this
it's not bad, but
was this a one-shot or is this another 3-issue mini?
I can't tell. I think it was just a one-shot.
Okay. Because
basically the end of this one, they're already hyping Captain America 0.
Right.
And then there's going to be a Captain America 1 after that. So it's a pre-hype.
Yeah, apparently in 3 months' time, they're going to be launching 3 different Captain America books, they announced, I guess.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think there's 2 main titles that the same writer is going to be writing, and then there's one other mini or something that they're telling at the same time as these series. I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah. It's a decent story, but I always kind of feel a little bit hoodwinked when it's just a pre-hype to a story.
Yeah.
You can hype that up anyways, but anyways, I'll give this a 3.5. Like, it was a decent story. It's fun to see these guys. Like I said, it's first comic for me to see Bucky Barnes as Winter Soldier in there.
Right.
So it was nice seeing that. But as for continue on with Devil's Reign, there's no freaking big reveals, or maybe I missed them or they went over my head. I don't know.
Right.
And we're going next with Iron Man 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got Iron Man here. He's still the Iron God, and he's come back to Earth. And there's a lot of characters here that are introduced again. There's Hellcat, Frogman, the Gargoyle. Yeah. Like, they're all just kind of sitting having coffee because they know that Iron Man's the Iron God. They don't know when he's coming back.
Scarlet Spider's still there? Scarlet Spider? He was there at one point.
Well, no, they have a shout out to him. And they shout out to the Amazing Spider-Man series. Oh, I heard he's Spider-Man. Good for that guy. He deserves a win. So that was nice to read that too. Like, not knowing exactly what what Ben Riley's up to in Spider-Man.
Yeah, that is cool.
But it was a good shout out there. So they're all kind of just, well, what are we going to do when Tony comes back? What's he up to? And then War Machine is there too. And the War Machine's like, oh, don't worry. I gave the Avengers a heads up, something's going on. And then boom, Iron Man comes in, or the Iron God comes back to whatever city they're in. He's got a big plan on how to fix everything, because that's what he's up to now.
Right.
And so he comes back as a freaking like a giant Galactus almost. And everybody's like, hey, buddy, take it easy. He goes, oh, sorry. And then he shrinks down to human size. He goes, well, my bad. And then the Avengers pop out of nowhere, because they know Avengers, Fantastic Four, a whole bunch of people start popping out of nowhere, like, kind of ready to do battle, because they think, Tony Stark's a bit of an ass. And now that he's got the power of a god, he's going to be just a freaking godly ass.
Yeah.
So you think they're going to fight, but lo and behold, they do not fight. A big battle doesn't break out where they reveal, like Tony Stark's like, hey man, just relax here. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. And how I'm going to do it. Like there's a bunch of him between Captain America. They're chit chatting, and he loses temper on Captain America for a bit. But basically, in his issue, the plan is that he's going to make everybody in the world as smart as him, because he can do that now. He's got the power of a god.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Huh.
So, but before he does that, he goes, look, I'm just going to do it in this city here and see how it goes. So everybody there, like including all the heroes that were with them, they all get like Tony Stark intellect, like genius level intellect. And there's a few funny lines. Is like, I think Sue Storm asked Reed Richards, goes, do you feel any different? He's like, oh, actually, I feel a little bit dumber. But there's some good lines there. And, it's kind of, it gave a way for some of these writers to kind of touch on some really wacky topics.
Right.
Like, some existential stuff. Like, just put like a bubble about it, maybe a paragraph in a bubble. But I thought it was good stuff. And let's see. It was nice to see the new characters. And there's a good reveal at the end, too. So, there's a great reveal at the end.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil that. So,
okay.
I'll tell you offline later.
Fuck.
They got to figure out how to shut this guy down.
Yeah.
And they have to call in some people.
You're killing me with the talking about this book, because I love hearing about it, but I'm reading this one in trade. So like no spoil away. I don't really care, man. Like, but I'm just letting you getting me hyped up to read this finally, but I gotta wait for the trade to come out every time. I'm just like, damn it, I really want to read this, because it is a great series, guys. I agree with Chris.
There is a great reveal at the end of this one. And 4, gotta say, boom, 4.
All right, there you go. There you have it, guys. All right, now I got a few left here before we end out with our last 2 books that me and Chris both read, so I'll try to fire through these. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, what, man, Niko, how are you going to only give a couple of minutes to Saga number 55, the triumphant return, almost like 3 years later, it feels like. I think technically is either 2 or 3 years. It's been a long ass time, guys. This was the biggest book on the stands at that time when it went away. I feel independently, like through a company like Image and maybe even in general, this is a huge book when it went away, guys. And this is, of course, Saga, written by Brian K. Vaughan and drawn by Fiona Staples, the creators of it. A great little kind of like, I know the quick elevator pitch that people were given when this book came in, I felt came out. I felt it was a lot of people were comparing it to Star Wars / Romeo and Juliet type of thing, like war-torn lovers that can't actually be together because of the species of aliens that they are in the future, and kind of them about having a kid and about their adventures through space with a bunch of a great cast and wonderful writing and really great looking art. And, I would agree with that. But it's actually so much more. I mean, again, it's about a lot of the character work that's been done in this series, the relationships, this crazy shit that went on. And nobody can end a book with a cliffhanger or open up a return to a book quite like Brian K. Vaughan. He's really well known for doing that kind of thing. So I will leave it short and sweet. I don't want to spoil anything about this. The only thing I will say is if you look at this cover, these are not all the same characters that we left off with. And the ones that we did, they're a little bit older, as you can tell. So we jump to the future in this issue. So basically this is like a 5 years later or something type scenario where, since it has been so long since the book has been out there, he doesn't really make it so it was a bad jumping on point for you once again entering this story with these characters, because you were actually kind of almost reintroduced to these people, and there's a lot of stuff that happened in between, obviously, that they're going to get to hopefully eventually, or just I guess ignore, because they go over the events that the main big things that happened at the end of the where we left off at the end of the last issue. They do review, go over very quickly through some of the dialogue in this, like the people that died, the place they were left. You know what I mean? So like it kind of went over everything quite well, I felt. So Saga 55, I give this a 4. This is a really solid return, and it's a great series. Definitely check it out, guys, if you have not yet. Deadly Class number 50. Again, this is like almost the swan song for this series too. I think it's got about 3 or 4 issues left. As you can tell, the storyline of this one, A Fond Farewell. This is part 2. This is another great solid issue. The art was fantastic. There was some great scenes of like some them trying to talk about a scenario of busting into a place and killing a whole bunch of people, even though this didn't actually occur in the issue. There was a version of this moment, but as they were trying to figure this out, these two, they basically kept playing this shit out in their head, and they were imagining all these things that the artist was able to depict, right? So where we left off with this, we thought that the characters were one of them was hired to kill the other one, someone that he was in love with for a long time, that he met back up with again in this future setting. Again, the book kind of jumped time, and it's coming quickly to its conclusion. He kind of had his brush with her. You found out that he got hired to kill her. Does he kill her in this issue? Does he let her get away? This was a girl that he loved at one point in his life, right? So, we're so far into the series, I don't want to get into specific plot points, only to say, though, it is a fantastic story still being told. I can't wait for this series to end, but I'm also going to be very sad when it does. I really hope they stick the landing, because it's been one of my favorite comics, past several years that this has been coming out. So yeah, Deadly Class. The first season actually just came on Netflix Canada. If you are a Canadian viewer, the first and only season, it become a TV show, but then it didn't get picked up for a second season. So it's now on Netflix, I think, in like every country in the world. So if you're checking this out and you're interested in this and you want to check out the TV show, I haven't watched it yet, but apparently it's very good. So yeah, it's one season on Netflix. And next up, we got Black Hammer Reborn number 8. A Jeff Lemire series written by Dark Horse Comics, the only indie comic he's going to be writing on, since he is exclusive to Image Comics. When this wraps up, this is going to be it for his work outside of Image. Dark Horse publishes this one. It's been a nice run of this series, Black Hammer. This is like, I guess, the second iteration of it. There's been the main Black Hammer series prior to this, and then this was the relaunch, this Reborn one. And in between all that, they had a bunch of different mini series that he put out with different artists that focus on specific characters that we've come across throughout the series. So like every main character had their own like 4 or 5 issue mini series with a different artist that he also wrote while these main series were coming out. So it's a very fleshed out world. It's basically his homage to all the things he loves about superhero comics. Lots of different versions of characters that might seem familiar in the Black Hammer universe, because they're basically, rip-offs of the characters that he loves from DC and Marvel, but his own version and take on these characters. So the way he's created his own universe by still kind of staying true to himself, and also kind of, giving the nod to some of his other favorite superhero properties, has been a fun journey. I got to say, though, Black Hammer Reborn, the second series of this Black Hammer, though, not as great as the first one. I still enjoy it. I still love this world, and I'm still going to stick with it right to the very end. And overall, I think it's going to be a great series to recommend to people. But I will say that the second relaunch, this Black Hammer Reborn part, not as good as the first go around. And it seems like Jeff is now just dragging his feet a little. Now that he signed that Image exclusive, it's kind of treading water. So I think now he's going to quickly wrap it up within the next few issues. I think this is a 12-issue series, this Reborn, so it's probably going to end by the time this is over. At this point, it's just kind of like, okay, we can see the ending in the distance. Just grasp for it, man. Like, let's just get us to the finish line. Like, we're right there. I think it's been going on a little too long at this point, a little long in the tooth, unfortunately. But other than that, I think it's great. But this particular issue, I gave a 3. It was okay for me. And then lastly, Harley Quinn 11. Also, just an all right issue for me. This was the return of Riley Rossmo, the artist. That is an awesome cover. And Chris, I know you said you didn't have enough time to read this, but where we left off the last issue, me and Chris had mentioned how much we love that because it was like a nice story about her and Poison Ivy, you know, basically being together, hopefully, finally. And then at the end of the issue, they, you know, once again, she's like, no, not meant to be right now. You got to go off on your own journey. And maybe if we're going to be together, we'll be together sometime soon. And now we kind of are just back to the regular Harley story, her versus some stupid villain that's been bugging her in the storyline prior to that Poison Ivy moment. And her and her friend, the guy with that smiley face on his chin. Kevin, yeah, who I actually really like. And I like that aspect of the story a lot. And it focuses a little bit on her and the help group in this that she's helping run. And as well as, I forgot the villain's name that's fucking with her. But anyways, he was the one that was the one messing with her prior to everything happening with Poison Ivy. And there's a funny little moment where she starts talking about Terminator 2 and how everyone prefers Terminator 2, but she prefers the first one. And so there's some funny bits and moments of dialogue that the writer actually had written in this that I quite enjoyed throughout. And certain aspects of the book I still really dig. Riley Rossmo, the regular series artist, is back on this issue, so I was happy about that. So all that I kind of enjoyed. I think it was a decent issue. I gave it a 3.5, but I am a little disappointed that we didn't stick somewhat with the Poison Ivy aspect of this book. It was just like a detour. It seemed like during that fucking event that went on Fear State or whatever that went on entirely too long. Yeah. And I was like, come on, man. I was like, give us some more Poison Ivy Harley moment.
Yeah, so they don't even follow Poison Ivy where she went off to.
No,
like it's like Poison Ivy left and that's not part of the story anymore.
That's right. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Mary Jane and Black Cat Beyond #1. Chris, I read this as well. What'd you think?
Thought it's freaking awesome. A little variant cover here. There's so many great lines in this comic. It's great to see both these characters together, and the writing makes them work together. You know, you get a lot of kind of in-depth, a little deeper Black Cat character building there. And all that thing at the end, she's moaning about how she's always going to be the bad girl. It's nice to get along, but there's some fancy lines there. I think it's in this one, is where Peter sort of wakes up and both Black Cat and Mary Jane are in front of him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm dreaming. Just be gentle." And then I guess he passes out again or something. That part, and how Black Cat kind of just bends everybody, to kind of get what she needs to. What do you think of it?
I liked it. I thought the story was just so. Like, the story was fine. Like, it was a nice little one and done, but it wasn't anything, amazing or special, I would say. But I did like a few moments, like you said, the moment where he mentioned about, this, waking up from a dream. Like, this is a dream that he had where there was a scenario in a Black Cat outfit. I really liked that. I really liked the end where they both connected and they're like, why are we dating? Yeah. Why are we babes dating these losers?
Like, that was a good line there.
And just the moment where she basically said, she felt insecure about Mary Jane being perfect. And then Mary Jane related that to Gwen Stacy, how perfect she was. And they just had a nice little, that was my favorite part of the issue, to be honest. Like, the whole caper that they shared together was just like whatever for me.
I thought it was a fun romp, like I'm very invested in these characters. So, and the art of this one was great, having both those characters drawn well, seeing Mary Jane in a Black Cat costume, can't go wrong with that. And there's that one line we talked about earlier there when Black Cat was a little bit worried about how Mary Jane would fit into the costume.
Yes. The one about her ass being like a dump truck. I was afraid.
I don't know if that dump truck ass would ruin my costume or something. I thought that was hilarious too.
That was great. That's what I mean. I love the last half of the issue. I really, really enjoyed. The caper was fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but the moment of them bonding, hilarious. Yeah, great stuff. So I gave it a 3.5.
Yeah, I give this one a 4.5. Nice. Like I said, this was more. If this story had more, or the story had more gravitas or was more important, I'd probably give it more. But it's a fun romp, seeing a lot of characters that I like. Monster covers, I didn't get any of the super good ones. I might go hunting for some tomorrow because there's a bunch of monster covers for this.
Yeah, well, you let me know. those because
Yeah, don't worry. If I see one, I'll get one for you too.
All right, and lastly, guys, our weekly check-in with Amazing Spider-Man 87, which basically worked very well hand in hand with the issue, the Mary Jane. Don't make the same mistake that I did. I had to read it online. If you're going to pick up Amazing Spider-Man, pick up the Mary Jane and Black Cat one because they kind of work together, those two. It is a Beyond tie-in, which I missed the boat on. I just, I missed that. I didn't recognize it being a Beyond tie-in or else I would have picked it up. What'd you think of this one, Chris?
I thought it's great. I loved it too. I'm happy that Spider-Man's back in business. I'm happy, a little worried about Ben Reilly now. I never thought I'd be worried about him. So having them make me start to care about Ben Reilly, you know, when he when he didn't understand that line, with great power, he was what? I don't know. What's the rest? It's like, huh? Are you serious, man?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Just once again, Black Cat in there again, trying to teach Spider-Man the ropes. Can't go wrong with that. He's still clumsy. Bagman. The Bagman is back. Can't go wrong with Bagman. Love the Bagman. You got a Bagman with different kind of T-shirts and clothes on there. They want to try and get the uniform back on. That's why I have to put the uniform back on for that too. I don't think he earned it yet, but he's working on it.
Yeah, I agree. Great issue. A lot of really interesting stuff building. I got to say, I do really like it. And they kind of related. At first, I thought it was bullshit that they would make Spider-Man coming out of this injury seem like it's back to basics where her and like Captain America had like helped train him and shit. But like,
well, I think his spider sense just isn't working yet so well. And I think his spider sense is kind of really what gets him going. You know what I mean? Like allows him all his dexterity and grace, let's say, because he's just like.
So while I thought it was stupid at first, then I started thinking about it more, and I actually even related it to somebody kind of going into physio again after not being able to use their body.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what I mean, like after an injury, right? So I was just like, yeah, you know what? I dig this direction for it, and I love the art on it. I actually preferred the artist on this more than the Mary Jane and Black Cat book. I thought she looked like way better in this book than she did in the other one, personally. Actually. Fight those covers and all that, but I really enjoyed this, man. I think it's building it's Spider-Man's been great.
It's always something big. They got the Goblin Queen or whatever coming in, or Queen Goblin. I don't know which way it goes, but
I gave this 4.5 this issue.
Yep, I'm giving it a 4.5 too. That's a big turnaround from 2 or 3 issues ago.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, since we're going a little long here, there's going to be no in the news or from the vault or anything like that today, guys. But, stay tuned for those. We'll definitely be doing those segments again in the future. Before we mention our favorite book of the week, though, and such a great week of comics and huge week, what are we looking forward to picking up next week? You got
I had to pass on that. I don't know. I don't have my list handy. I forgot all about that. Just trying to get through everything.
Not a problem. Okay, so I'll quickly mention what I have, and you can mention if some of these were also things you're picking up.
Yeah, I'll give my thumbs up if you're saying it.
Man, Amazing Spider-Man 88. Batman 120, Crossover 11, Daredevil Woman Without Fear #2, Dark Knights of Steel. That's always great, guys. Fantastic Four Life Story #6. Fantastic Four Reckoning War Alpha, yeah, #1. Geiger 80 Page Giant #1, Magic Order 2 #4, New Burn 3, Scumbag 12, and Excellent #1. So that's gonna. And I'm sure Chris actually had a few others, like I read a few others, and he doesn't there that, he'll be mentioning.
Yeah, sort of whatever's on the list. But yeah, that totally slipped my mind. My bad.
Not a problem. Tune in then, though, guys, to that episode. Make sure you're subscribed to the new channel. Give us a thumbs up button and hit us up in the comments. Once again, on the new YouTube channel, the Late Night Collectors Community. So make sure that you guys follow us over there. Our favorite book of the week. Oh, right. Very nice, Chris. Mary Jane and Black Cat, eh? Well, for me, I will say I had a couple of runner-ups. Thor was a runner-up and Peacemaker was a runner-up. But I think, as you can tell, my clear winner was Human Target #4.
Nice.
Unexpected for me, even though as much as I was looking forward to this series based on Tom King writing it, this has been way better than I had any. I thought it was, any intentions of it being. It's a great series, guys. So, all right. Well, that's going to do it for this week, guys. Thank you for tuning in as always. We'll see you guys over in the new Late Night Collectors Community YouTube channel. And look forward to more comic shop talk on a weekly basis. We'll see you guys then. Later, guys.